So that was pretty cool to see Rachel performing in that intimate setting, right?
You know, it was. And again, her lyrics are extraordinary. But we're going to let you judge that because you, after all, are the judge and jury on talent.
That is absolutely right. But now, we're heading over to the private home studio of local artist Neil MacDonald.
This is going to be fun and a mind-expanding opportunity.
It's really cool art. You need to just, when we scan through the pieces, see if you're not trying to figure out what's in there. But it's something really cool to check out.
Don't give away too much, man.
I'm sorry.
Don't give away too much.
I get all excited when we talk about paintings.
Well, let's go. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Erin Ludlam with Arts Quest, and we are here with local artist Neil MacDonald, who just recently had a show at the Akron Art Museum entitled Dreamland. I want to talk a little bit about the newest series that you're working on. It's a show, actually a whole series. It's years and years in the making.
Yes.
And it's called Apophenia. Did I say that correctly?
That's correct, Apophenia.
Explain that to me a little bit. That's a scientific term, right? That's not just something you made up out of nowhere.
No, it's a scientific term. It comes from a fellow named Klaus Conrad, who's an analyst, and he came up with it about 1958. And what he was doing was he was studying people going into psychosis, and a psychotic paranoiac begins to make connections with everything. Everything has a connection to them. But in time, over the years, it became applicable to just anybody, because we all make connections of some sort. That was originally, it was a random connectedness to make a specific event, a structured event, which there was none.
I gotcha. So it's basically a false connection.
It's a false connection.
Essence.
It's also a false positive, they call that.
Oh.
But originally it was used for a mental illness, but now it's not. It's because people have discovered that we've been making those connections for centuries, and everybody does it to a certain extent. Whether it's seeing lines in Peru or the Virgin Mary in a potato chip. Or something.
So now, as an artist, how do you incorporate that in to the body of work that you're working on?
Well, it's because the last series that I did on Dreamland was an Apophenia was about structure and about how it took, say, television breakups, which is becomes a structure. The structure becomes revealed when the picture begins to break up and it slows down. And stops. And some people would see meaning in that. Some people see meaning in anything. But my goal was to break up a picture, a photograph, or an idea through in the computer age, or on television it'd be called pixels, but I call it fragmentation.
So how are you taking some of these paintings that are on a larger scale and starting with it so fragmented? How do you continue that process through to completion? Since it is human nature to try to make a connection at some point, do you find yourself having to step back and stop yourself as you're going?
Not necessarily. The masking helps. Like I'm saying, when I was painting them, I say to myself, to keep it interesting, or to keep it's each a very small painting. It can be a small, like a landscape or something, or an abstraction. They're all small abstractions.
Wow. So you're dealing on a very minute basis, even on a large scale thing.
Yeah, it's an ancient technique. It's used through the Middle Ages, through the Renaissance. You always see it. It's a matter of scaling something, taking something small and blowing it up, because you have a reference point.
Right.
You know, whether it's 1/4, 1/12, that way. So what I do is basically when I have a set, say a captured photograph from a video, from television, or a video, or a book I can use it from. And I will grid it up to scale it up, and then I'll do the grisaille painting underneath, very old technique, painting a grayscale, painting it usually in an umber or something, then masking it and painting the unmasked part, then taking the masking off, masking that part, then painting that section, sometimes 2 or 3 times.
So it's a pretty detail-oriented process.
It's detailed,
for an artist to get.
Well, right. It should come together as something at the end. although it won't be entirely together because it's broken up.
That's kind of the point, right?
It's kind of the point, because I don't look at underneath what I'm doing. I try to see it at different times. When we see an image over and over again, it becomes iconic. You start to lose what that actually is about. You just see it. It's like the Mona Lisa. You don't think it was a painting. You think it's the Mona Lisa.
Right.
So I wanted something that was not terribly obscure, but something was just familiar enough to people to get, well, something's going on, and I think I know what's going on. And that got me more into breaking up. I started to take the old scan lines of, say, a television set and started putting those in. There's a progression there.
Right.
And then, well, to update it, to make it the digital age. But it was also fascinating when I'd watch on television something break up digitally. It's fascinating because it has a narrative, and then it stops. It slows down and then just stops. And that's what painting is. You're stopping an action for some kind of perusal.
So the last show that you had actually was at the Akron Art Museum.
Yes.
And interestingly enough, you are the first local artist to ever be presented at the gallery space.
That's true, at the new gallery, yes.
And that was a show in conjunction, kind of two series, correct?
Right. I had Epiphania and also the Roswell series, which was about the Roswell incident, which everybody knows about.
Sure.
And people were always basically about UFOs and people's belief in UFOs. And people asked me the relationship between Epiphania and Roswell. Well, because Epiphania, making connections, is also part of what Klaus Conrad said, is it also it's the beginnings of belief in pseudoscience and also religion too. Both. In fact, one painting I did in the Roswell series was a painting of a picture that I found of Mother Teresa addressing a group of people at a site that they had built. It was in Alberta, in Canada, and Mother Teresa came there and talked to the people. So gave a little speech about how she would take care of people in the space if she could. If there were people in outer space, she'd take care of them there. So I thought that was an interesting mixture of the two belief systems.
So it kind of stems back to our need to define, I guess.
It's always been there. It's with people are always putting something into the unknown. They're applying their own psyche onto the unknown.
Everybody loves classical guitar, and we have a classic moment today with John Marcel Williams. Here we go.
Take it away. Much more centered and cleansed after that classical moment.
I'll tell you what, that guy can play guitar the way people dream of playing guitar. And oh, what a talent.
Absolutely.
But our next piece is actually related to you personally. You're not the host, and there's a reason why.
We're going to get your heart rate going now because you're going to check out XainGO. You're going to meet the cast, check out some of the performance, and figure out what it's all about, this crazy art dance theater. What does that mean?
It is crazy art dance theater, that's a fact. But we have another treat, which is we actually have a new interviewer.
We do have a new host. Aaron Ludlum is doing the interviewing of XainGO, so check it out. Take it away, Aaron.
Hope you enjoy.